we'll keep things moving as well. So thanks everybody for joining us in the studio here on Zoom. If you'd like to join in, oh, Michael, you're here. Thanks for joining in. Great to see you. If you're watching in the live stream, please feel free to ask questions and comments. If you want to go to the main site and join us on Zoom, the link is actually in the detail or the description of the post as well. So happy to have you jump in here also. So we've got some more amazing speakers. We've just had quite a few come in, and Melvin Tan from Singapore was just speaking with us as well. And we're going to get to Michael Haynes, and then Andrew Griffiths as well is coming up in the next 45 minutes as well. So make sure you tune into this BAT channel and to watch Michael Haynes and Andrew Griffiths coming up. And then Michael Hanrahan is going to be joining us as well. And he's here in the studio, which is fantastic as well. Actually, you're not on for a little bit, Michael, but thanks for joining. I really appreciate that. We're looking forward to talking about book building as well. Michael Hanrahan being a book publisher for business authors as well. And maybe we'll talk about the Australian Business Book Awards also. All right, so let's get rolling. Michael, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time and coming to talk to us. So I'll let you take it away. If you want to introduce yourself, and did you have something to present, or do you just want to kind of chat strategy, or?
Yeah, so hello everyone. So I'm just going to be, as opposed to doing a presentation, I'm just going to be doing a bit of a talk. And the purpose of my talk, which is going to be fairly short, is to plant a few seeds into some of the things you need to be thinking about in the world of B2B, and why I think B2B is a place to be. And I'm going to talk about a few things. And just taking a bit from Melvin's presentation, I'm going to be starting off with a bit of contrarian thinking that how you need to be positioning your thinking and perspective in the B2B space. So in terms of myself, again, so I'm Michael Haynes. So I'm a business growth specialist, and my focus, my passion is about working with the CEOs, business owners of service-based small and medium-sized companies. So your accounting firms, law firms, engineering firms, catering firms, anyone who's a small, medium business selling their business to their services to other businesses. That's my jam. So I guess you could call myself the SMB or SME B2B specialist. Now, B2B, I'm very passionate about B2B because I really do believe that B2B has a lot of opportunities for us as small, medium businesses, if you know how to really navigate the landscape. And now really the one key thought I want to be putting in people's minds, that I want them to be thinking about as they move forward, is that to be successful in B2B, this is where I'm going to be coming up with a bit of contrarian thinking, taking a bit from Melvin's talk. It's not enough. It's not good enough to be customer driven. The key to success in B2B is to be buyer driven. And you need to know, if you remember nothing else from my brief talk today, you must be buyer driven. In other words, knowing who is the buyer, so who makes the decision, what are their priorities, and most importantly, how do they buy? Because it's that third element that has fundamentally changed quite a bit over the last couple of years. Now, B2B presents massive opportunities. You know, you can get big contracts, large revenues, recurring revenues. It often can be recurring referral engine where, you know, momentum breeds momentum, but you really need to understand the landscape, because how business buyers are behaving, where they're going to undertake their research and buying has fundamentally changed. So the key to success in the B2B space in being buyer driven is that there are three key activities that you need to be doing. You need to listen, you need to innovate, and you need to grow. These are the three fundamental things that need to be undertaken in a buyer driven way. And these are so fundamental, hence that is the name of my company, Listen, Innovate, Grow. And it is the name of my first book, Listen, Innovate, Grow, a guidebook for startups and SMEs to acquire and grow business customers. So I'm just going to briefly go through each of those three components just to give you a sense of what you need to be thinking about and doing in terms of listening, innovating, and growing in a buyer-centric manner. So what do I mean by listening? So listening is about getting that in-depth understanding on three levels. You need to be listening to you as the business owner. So by that, I'm talking about having a really good understanding as you as a business owner, your company. What are the visions and goals of your company? Where are you looking to go? Understanding the strengths of your company in terms of where they've had success. So where are you winning? With what kinds of services, what kinds of products, which kinds of markets, which kinds of customers, which kinds of buyers? So that's listening to you, really understanding you as a business leader, the business owner, and understanding your company. Then there's what I call listening to the market. Listening to the market is about getting that depth of understanding in terms of those industries, markets, geographies, both that you currently serve and those that you seek to serve. So that's understanding all of the dynamics. So what are the trends, what are the trends and developments going on within your industries, within the markets that you're serving? What are your competitors doing? And really having an understanding of your competitors, again, from a buyer perspective. Understanding, economic conditions, political environment, what sort of regulations. So really having an understanding of those dynamics going on in the external environment that you operate. Then the third level of listening is listening to customers. Now, this is where in B2B, it is different because, again, the key to success in listening to customers, most people think, oh, I've got to be thinking about customer as an organizational, from an organization perspective. So if I'm targeting Air Canada, if I'm an IT service provider and I want to get into to Air Canada, or I want to get into, now, Bank of Melbourne, that I need to understand the organization. Yes, you do. But the key to success is understanding at the buyer level. So you need to know for your solution category, who are going to be those decision makers, both making the decision and those influencing the decision. What are their priorities, key objectives, goals, and challenges? And the third component, how do they buy? What are they reading? Who are they talking to? Where are they listening? What are they doing? Where are they going? You need to have a very strong understanding of that buying dynamic because that has changed quite a bit. And your business buyers, those involved in the decision-making, there's a lot more people involved, anywhere from, on average, I think 60% of B2B, there's more than 6 people involved in the decision-making. So we need to know who those people are, what are their priorities, and what are they doing? Who are they talking to? What are they reading? What industry professional associations are they members of? What events are they going to? What publications are they reading? Who are they talking to within terms of experts, their fellow peers? Doing that listening on those 3 levels of listening to you, listening to the market, listening to your customers, listening to the buyers will give you that clarity as into where to focus. Where do you need to be focusing your resources and your efforts? So that's listening. And that's something that needs to be going on an ongoing basis. And there are a number of very practical, cost-effective ways that small and medium businesses can and must undertake in order to be maintaining a pulse of what's going on and to be doing that listening. The second element is innovate. And so innovate, I'm talking about business innovation. Now, the formal definition of business innovation are those new introductions and or improvements that you're making across the business. And you need to be thinking holistically across the business in terms of the 5 key categories, in terms of your products, in terms of your services. There's what's called organizational innovation. So where there are opportunities to be undertaking things such as, outsourcing, alliances, collaborations, partnerships. I believe partnering, collaborating is something every small and medium business should be undertaking because you can undertake it from even a very simple level as, just collaborating to do a breakfast or swapping, email lists so that you're exchanging content to your respective audiences. Then we have process innovations, looking at your systems and processes and how you can innovate those. And then there is marketing innovation. So what are some of the marketing strategies that you can be introducing into your organization? And we need to be thinking about B2B strategies that are buyer-driven strategies. 2 that I'll just rhyme off really quickly are account-based marketing and micro-influencer strategies are just 2 examples of strategies that, again, small and medium businesses must be doing. And so in terms of innovation, it might be minor improvements, changes, introductions, or it can be greater ones. But you want to be thinking holistically across the business in conjunction with those industry, customer, market, buyer needs. What are some of those levers? What sorts of changes, introductions you want to be making? I think Melvin made a comment before about innovation and the need for growth, and he is 200% correct. High growth firms, so those firms are getting that consistent growth year on year. Business innovate in at least 2 categories over and above just product. So we need to be thinking across the business, again, in conjunction with industry, market, and buyer needs. How do we innovate? And then the third element is about growth. So growth, we want to be thinking about the growth pathway. So what are the ways in which we can grow? Are we going to go after new markets? Are we going to go after new customers? Are we going to have new product and service offerings? Are we going to try to sell more to our existing client base and or combinations thereof? So we call those growth pathways. But then once you start to grow, you need to be managing that growth. So we need to be thinking as you're growing from a 5-person small business and you're becoming a 10, 20-person organization, you're operating across geographies, more solutions, then you need to be managing that change. Because you're going to have changes in terms of your processes, your culture. So how are you going to be managing that? Your financial management is also quite critical as well in terms of growth initiatives require a lot of expenditure because you have to invest to grow. It takes to undertake those innovations, even if they're incremental improvements, changes, often it's going to require investment of time, effort, and money. So you want to be making sure that you're managing those financial undertakings as you're taking those growth initiatives. Managing your people and your culture is quite critical because as you're changing and growing, it's going to have an impact. Being a 5 or a 10-person operation, operating just at a regional capacity, it's going to be quite different if you expand and you start operating nationally, internationally, you start broadening your portfolio of services and offerings. So there's a number of elements in terms of undertaking the growth, but also how do you manage that growth as well. So listen, innovate, grow, the 3 activities that you need to be undertaking on an ongoing basis within your company, but the key to success in order for that to be buyer-driven, all coming and stemming from that listening in terms of that understanding around your buyers, your industries, your markets, your customers that you're serving. And we need to be doing that listening on a regular basis to be making sure that we can adapt and innovate and respond as there are changes within your markets, your customers, and the areas that you're serving. So that's kind of the overview of the Listen, Innovate, Grow framework about being buyer-driven. I just wanted to plant some of those seeds in terms of some of the things you need to be thinking about in terms of developing your B2B market strategy to move forward. One last thing, and then I'd love to open up to questions. If you would like to learn more about how do you listen, innovate, grow to develop your roadmap for your company, I am going to be doing a workshop next month, which I will try and share the screen now, if this will allow me to do so.
Yeah, you should be okay.
Let me see if it's, okay, let me try that again. Okay, it doesn't, 1 second.
Just trying to find it. Where did you send it to me, Michael? On LinkedIn?
I sent it to you on LinkedIn, yeah.
Okay. Oh.
File and folders. Okay, it's not letting me share here. Hang on. No, it's not letting me. Anyhow, I'll keep going. So on the 22nd, 23rd of November, depending which part of the world that you're living in, I am going to be doing a B2B growth workshop. It's going to be a 90-minute session. It will not be death by PowerPoint. This will be an interactive session where we'll be going through the Listen, Innovate, Grow framework, getting you to think about your business and developing the action plan that is going to be necessary for you, that's going to be right for your company, and what are those immediate action steps to start building and growing your 2023 roadmap. Details for that can be found at listeninnovategrow.com. And so that's pretty much it. Doyle, are you able to share the screen or no?
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's busy chugging away in the background. So
well, while that's chugging away,
yeah.
Thanks so much, Michael. This has been fantastic. And I got a kind of question for you because I've been plotting and kind of looking at these customer personas, right?
Yeah.
And you've given me some food to thought to really look at, where does the buyer decision piece tie into that, right? So
Yes.
maybe if you could put a little more meat on the bones
Sure.
for, how when thinking beyond just a persona look into it, right? How
Yeah.
do you connect that buyer piece into it, into
Sure.
that plan?
Sure. That's a great question, Tony. So
Thanks,
really,
thanks.
fantastic question. Really, when I'm working with my clients, one of the first starting points is looking at your current client customer base in terms of those current clients that you're seeking and those that you're seeking to serve. And we want to have some discussions with those decision makers. Who are the ones that making the decisions and or informing the decision around your products or solutions, because it's very, very important that we have an understanding, because that becomes important, Tony, in larger organizations. So if you're selling, let's say you're an IT company and you're selling into one of the banks, for example, who makes the decision could be your head of technology, some of your middle project analysts. They may have head of operations. Those are the ones that are going to be evaluating what Tony's company has to offer. So we need to understand really, how do they go about making their decision making? And Tony, your decision makers will do a number of things. They may come to events like this, and they may get food for thought around things they should be thinking about with their IT solutions. They may be tapped into their industry and professional associations. For example, here in Australia, we have a couple IT associations: the Australian Computer Society and the Australian Information Technology Society, the AIIA. They may be going there for a lot of their information and advice and looking for things. So we want to understand, who is that decision maker? Where do they go looking for the information? Are there members of online communities and groups, for example? Because, Tony, we need to understand those things, because by understanding where they're going, who they're talking to, what they're listening to, that will define what your marketing and sales activities need to be. And where you need to be visible. So should you be, putting some of your content in some of these industry and professional associations? Should you be speaking at some of their breakfasts? Are there certain podcasts that you need to be on? So it's very important, by talking to your current clients and customers and your prospects and understanding their priorities and how they go about making their decisions, where they go about looking for advice, insights, recommendations. That will give you a very clear roadmap in terms of the kinds of people you need to be focusing on, but what they are doing, and hence what you need to be doing in terms of your marketing and sales activities, in addition to some other things that you need to be doing in order to meet their requirements, because that's very important. Is that giving any granularity? Is that putting some meat on the bones for you?
Totally. Like, that gives me like a lot better perspective. I get what you're going with that. Like, I've already been working on the persona piece, right?
Yeah.
And then how do you build content that gets sticky with those people that they come to that site? I love the idea of groups. I love the idea of getting on chats like this, right? Where
Yeah.
you could interact and connect with them. And certainly I get the who's who in the zoo and the decision maker perspective from doing target account selling, right?
Yeah.
And knowing who those people are, but really having that right in your game plan, you're just going to trigger more opportunity, I would think, at the end of the day.
Absolutely, Tony. You will trigger more opportunities, and the reality is that your B2B buyers, in this environment that we're in with inflation, lack of resources, etc., your decision makers are doing a lot more independent research. And they don't talk to salespeople anymore until much later, if at all. But they do want to be doing a lot of their research. So they're going to do some on your website, but they're going to go to external places. And so we need to understand, where are they going? Are they joining online communities? Are they joining mastermind groups? What publications are they reading? What events are they attending? And what are their problems and challenges that they are trying to address in this proactive research that they're undertaking? And they're doing that very much independently. So it is so critical and so important. And it all starts with, I think, talking with your customers, your buyers, your current and prospective buyers, A second area that I tell a lot of my clients is really the industry and professional associations that are relevant for your industries that you're targeting, you should be a member of, because your industry and professional association are a repository of so many things. One, it will give you access to potentially interact with some of your customers, clients, to understand from a buyer perspective what's going on with them. It can be a place to showcase your content and be able to deliver value to them. It's also a source of listening to understand what's going on in the IT industry. What are the developments? Who are my competitors? And so, those industry and professional association are a repository to do your listening, to understand the industry, to understand the markets, to understand your prospective buyers, to identify ones that you want to connect with. So I would say 2 nuggets are, you've got to be having discussions with your buyers and prospective buyers. Document and record those listening, share them across your organization, because you're going to have to make changes across product, service and support, account management, the whole works, and your industry and professional associations for your key target industries. You should be a member of, because they are an absolute goldmine on a number of levels.
Awesome advice. Yeah, no, thanks so much. That's great.
Thanks, Michael. Great question, Tony. Really appreciate you taking the time, Michael, as well. I know you're kind of in between meetings there, so obviously a little bit of a tight fit, but I really
I'm
appreciate
happy to answer any more questions.
Yeah.
I'm good for a few more minutes, so if there's any more questions people have, more than happy to answer them.
Cool. I was able to show the your workshop slide as well, so I'm not sure if everybody saw that.
So again, folks, it's going to be sure. So it's November 22nd or 23rd, depending where in the world that you are. It's going to be a 90-minute growth planning workshop where I'm going to go through the Listen, Innovate, Grow framework in detail. And this is going to be an interactive session. It's not going to be a lot of death by PowerPoint. It's going to be you folks thinking about your business, talking about some of the concepts, some of the ideas that I'm going to be presenting, and seeing what's relevant for your business to come out with your 2023 growth battle plan, so that you've got some immediate 3 to 5 steps of activities that you need to undertake immediately that you can start implementing from the workshop. So it's to be very action oriented. And again, listeninnovategrow.com for information about the workshop and all my other content pertaining to the world of B2B.
And we're going to be giving away Michael's book as well, Listen, Innovate, Grow. So for those who have registered, you'll be entered into the draw automatically for one of Michael's books. So thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate your time and your dedication to the craft as well. And
absolutely,
I mean, I'm listening and it's like, wow, like there's like so much we could unpack there. We'll have to go back on, do another live stream one of these days.
Yes, absolutely.
Coming up. And go.
Well, thank you for
deep.
having me, Doyle. I will be dialing in later on this evening once I leave. I'm on client side here, but once I leave, I will be dialing back in and listening to the rest of the presentation.
No, thank you. Really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. So up next we have, he's got to be the best person I know, Mr. Andrew Griffiths. I met him at a seminar in 2012 in Sydney when I'd first moved to Australia over from Canada. And let me tell you, things were a little bit shaky back then. And I listened to him from his storytelling and all the facets of his imagination and his humor and his creativity. And it's like, this is an amazing person that I'd really love to kind of get to know more and follow him along the way as well. And he's just been a true inspiration to myself personally, and I see from his network and everybody else around the internet, thousands and thousands of people. So I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome Mr. Andrew Griffiths to the Zoom session, to the Strategystorming Grand Opening. And when he said he could come, I was like, oh yes.
Right, thank you. Very, very. Everyone lower your expectations after that introduction, and congratulations.
Not at all.
Congratulations to you, Doyle. I love what you've done here. Strategystorming.co, great idea, and you put on an awesome event. So for me, it's wonderful to be a part of it, mate.
Oh, well, no, thank you. And before I kind of let you take the stage, I do have a ton of Andrew's books here that we're going to be giving away as well. So he's a prolific author, the most prolific author of prolific authors. right? So we've got a whole compendium of Andrew Griffiths compendiums of amazing business books as well. So those are going into the draw for everybody who's registered as well, and we'll draw those off later today. The Me Myth, a really kind of personal story, personal struggle, which I can relate to. The Big Book of Small Business, which is a fantastic read, showing, you know, what you can do and how you can do it a little bit better. And his latest one, Someone Has to Be the Most Expensive. Why not make it you? I just absolutely love that.
It's and it's of course a book that I needed to write probably 35 years ago, you know, and most of the time I think any of us who are authors who have been writing books, we all know the same thing. We tend to write the book that we need to read, and I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that as well.
And Andrew's helped coach me through writing the two books of mine as well. So thank you for that, for the
Pleasure.
invaluable feedback throughout that whole process. So tell us a little bit about your journey, Andrew. Like, and then once we get through that, you know, looking forward, like what are some of the big challenges you're seeing businesses face on a day-to-day basis? And let's talk strategy as well.
I guess, you know, I mean, if I work backwards and say that, what do I do today? Today, I'm an author. Obviously, I've written 14 best-selling books, sold in 65 countries around the world, around how to do business. And I've been writing books for forever. And I think my first book was published around 2000, so 22, 23 years ago. But you go backwards and backwards. I've done everything from selling encyclopedias door to door, to working in exploration in Western Australia, putting little bits of dirt in bags. I'm a commercial diver by trade. And you know, before that, well, I had my own dive shop. I bought my first business when I was a kid, when I was 17, going on 18. And it's very, very interesting to look back on that first business, because that was the most formulative of times, but it's probably the business that set all these incredible foundations for me going forward. And what I say a lot of the time now, Doyle, it's really interesting. The stuff that I talk about today, whether it be as a speaker around the world, whether it be a writer commentating around stuff that's going on, it's exactly what I was fortunate enough to realize all those years ago. The only difference is that now I say it, talk about it, write about it, I believe it. So the same lessons, but back then I didn't have the confidence or the experience, the track record to do that. And now, because I do speak around the world, and I've delivered hundreds of presentations everywhere from Iran to Mexico to Paris to all over the place, is that the issues facing business are pretty much the same. It doesn't really matter what language you speak. The challenges are very, very similar around the world. The currency, the timing, the whatever it might be is the same. And I get emails from readers all over the world. Same queries, same challenges, you know, and we think that we're very different. And our challenges are unique, you know, when we're here. And of course they're not. So
you must have an FAQ of the current business temperature then, right?
I do. and sorry, Doyle, to interrupt you.
Yeah.
That's actually a big part of my work is as a media commentator. And I've called myself an entrepreneurial futurist because it's kind of a cutesy term, but it's also what people do. I get asked by individuals, business owners, companies, industries, even, what do we need to be doing to future-proof ourselves? So, for example, I did a big project for the European Union to present to a couple of thousand British small businesses to try and help them transition through Brexit, which for them at the time was the biggest issue that they were facing. So that kind of commentary is a big part of my work.
Is there like, so could you kind of distill it down to like I don't know, top 3 biggest questions that you do hear on repeat, that it's like, and you know, what are those questions, if you don't mind?
It's interesting because, again, now I've got a 25 year history of being able to look at that kind of stuff. It varies on the time. Like during the global financial crisis, you know, what were the challenges? During Y2K, does anyone remember Y2K? It was like the world was going to come to an end, right? And it didn't. At the moment, it's a very, very unique time. It is a very, very unique time. One of the biggest issues, mental health in business, is huge. and a very, very, very big challenge. I think it's always been an issue in small business, but I don't think it has really been at the forefront that it has been in the as it is now. And that's one thing that I really notice is and that is triggering a lot of other things. I'm seeing a lot of people kind of questioning their small business and going, like the direction I'm doing. I don't want a freaking empire. I don't want to have, I don't want to work 100 hours. I don't want to do this. I want to build a business that suits me. I don't want the backseat Uber expert, turn your business into $500 million in a weekend. I want to build a business of substance and have more control of my life and better management of my life. And I think that's a really interesting thing. And the third thing, which I don't think is being spoken about a great deal yet, but I'm encountering a lot of people about it around this, people who are saying, I've been running my own accounting practice for 30 years. To be honest, I'm walking away. I'm going to go get a job paying 300 grand a year for an accounting firm and not have any stress, not have any grief, and just, go back to a salary. And I think it's been a very, very long time since we've seen the corporate world be as appealing for business owners as it is today, for security, for perceived ease, transition, all of those things. So fascinating time. And I don't know what you make of all of that, Doyle, but it's like it's a time that I've never encountered before.
Oh, really? That's interesting. We had a speaker on earlier for the U.S. and she said that the businesses, the number of total businesses in the U.S. dropped from like 600,000 in 2020 to about 300,000 in 2022. So in 2 years, that's like 300,000 businesses. And I know the U.S. economy is a lot bigger than here in Australia, but that's a significant hit. That's like 50% anyway you cut it.
It's huge. But again, as most of us would know, anyone who's got a bit of grey hair, who's perhaps been through a few of these, Jeff Hetherington's on the line. He's got a bit of grey hair. He knows what we're talking about. Mine's glued in now.
Yeah.
But we also know the other side of that, of course, is a number of people that have started new businesses in that period. I noticed that during the global financial crisis, a lot of people started business. Some giant corporations started businesses in that period of time, and that's the old. It's a bit of a corny analogy, but it's when a forest fire comes along and burns down all the trees, you get new growth coming through. And there's a lot of new growth. There are a lot of new businesses that are starting. It's just that how we measure a new business is so different today to what it perhaps was. You start a business on a credit card and a website. To be honest, a lot of the time, it barely gets registered by anyone. Same as if it closes. It just... business went broke. Did anyone hear it? No, you got a 20 grand credit card debt and you don't go broke. You just stop trading. And we don't really have enough figures, to really say that, which to me would be if the taxation department said how much tax was getting paid each quarter by businesses, that would give you a better indicator of what's changed. People just stop trading. So I think that this is my take is what is happening was always going to happen. It just happened 10 years earlier. That's the view. The zombie businesses were dead before COVID came along. It just became a convenient whipping boy. The industries that were, how many things were impossible before COVID came along? Like I remember I would try and see my vet, do a virtual call, an accountant. Couldn't do, no one would do Zoom because it was all too hard. Everything was impossible until it's not. Now, all of a sudden, I do Zoom calls with my vet, my acupuncturist. How's that, right? An acupuncturist telling you how to put things in your hands. My doctor, my lawyer, candlestick maker, all the rest of it, because necessity created change at a rapid rate. So we have this wonderful, incredibly challenging period of upheaval. And that, to me, is the opportunity for all of us in business, if we're talking strategy, is because consumers are extraordinarily open to new. You've got a chance to fix up all the sins of the past in your business, all the stuff that doesn't work, all the products that don't sell, all the constant flogging of doing stuff that doesn't work. People are okay for you to say, hey, I've completely changed tangent. I'm doing that. Whereas we liked consistency before, now we want change and we're ready for it. I know as a speaker, people are saying to me, my clients are saying, Come and talk about anything as long as it's about the future. If you're getting up here and you're talking about COVID and blah, 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 we don't care. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to hear about it. We are fatigued. We're burnt out, fried. We want you to be telling us about how exciting the future is. And that's really interesting.
So tell us, how exciting is the future then?
I think I'm absolutely positive about it. I think that we're going through this shitty stage, and it is a difficult stage, and we've certainly got, there's no doubt we got financial tough times coming. You can't prop up economies around the world, trillions of dollars, and not have to pay for it at some stage. So, but like any tough time, there is always great opportunity. My business does much better in tough times than it does in good times, because people take action in tough times. In good times, we'll do that when we get a chance. We'll, maybe, rah. Times get tough. My coaching clients are on the call 15 minutes early. My keynote speaking clients are paying you 3 months, a year in advance. Everyone's a bit more motivated and serious. But I think that we've got to say, okay, yes, it's going to be challenging times. I think if COVID's got us ready for that, hasn't it? It's made us all kind of go, okay, if you can't deal with tough times, and you wouldn't have survived COVID. So there's going to be a lot of turmoil. There's going to be a lot of change, but there's going to be opportunities for people to redefine their businesses and to really hone down what it is that you do. I think that we're a lot more realistic about what it is that people, what we want to get out of our business. We're redefining our business. I don't want to work 100 hours a week. I don't want to build an empire. I don't want to do all that stuff. I want to build a great business, gives me a great living that I enjoy, where I make something, sell something that's quality, and I want to have a great lifestyle. And I think this is the great reset that's happening in business. And out of that, I think consumers have changed at the same way, and consumers saying, I'm prepared to pay for quality. If you're still fighting out in the shitty end of the pool, where people are still dropping turds in there, and that's where the cheapest are fighting it.
What pool are you going to?
then you're destined. It's rough here in Tasmania, mate. But then stop playing in that end. Your opportunity is to be different. To stand out. Now, this is nothing we haven't heard before, but in the last 20 years, we've got really good at being homogenized and being the same. The markets will reward people who stand out, who offer great quality, who have got credibility, an incredible brand, all of those things that we know we should have, but we somehow fumble and get by without. That's the opportunity. I see nothing but opportunity for great businesses doing great stuff, who know how to charge. They've got integrity and values. That's a huge thing now. All of those things. Sorry, Doyle, you weren't hoping to get a word in by any chance.
No, that's good. I'm enjoying it as always. I could listen to you for days. But so ultimately, though, it sounds like what you're saying is it's kind of been a good thing, because it's kind of cleared house, because the barrier to entry was quite low. Is that making us smarter in business, or smarter to realize that we shouldn't be in business?
Well, that's a really great question. A lot of people who are in business who shouldn't be, and it takes them a long time to realize that. Just because you can register an ABN or a business number doesn't mean you should be in business. So I think that's a really, really valid point. Why are you in business? Why is everyone on this call a small business owner? Do you do it for the glory? Do you do it for the extreme wealth that you've all created? Let's be brutally honest, it's a hard freaking slog. I've been a business owner since I was 17, and it hasn't really got a lot easier that. But the reason that I'm my own boss, apart from the fact that no one would employ me, is because I love uncertainty. And to me, the uncertainty of business, meaning the excitement of business, I never know what the next email is. I never know what the next opportunity. I'm comfortable with the uncomfortableness of doing business. And that's one of the big factors. If you were to say to me, should I get into business or not? How okay are you with uncertainty? If you need certainty, do not buy a business. Don't get into business, because we don't have any certainty, in that side of it. So, I'm not sure that answers the question.
Yeah. No,
but it's an interesting kind of a point, I think, to really stop and ask ourselves that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I think that can maybe not necessarily prevent, but I think, and that's the whole purpose of strategy storming, is to give people these tools to say, look, yeah, it is a tough struggle, but if we kind of design it, if we look at it, if we understand it, if we kind of see it and build up, some foundation, we can make it. Right. It's no different than the
Exactly.
expeditions of the past, where how did they make it across, to Antarctica, across the Arctic, across, northern Canada kind of thing, down to Australia? How did they do that? They were prepared through building it as an expedition, and kind of a changing your mindset in terms of business and how you can make it work if you're prepared. And again, that's the purpose of strategy storming, is to bring it to everybody, so we can have these places, we can have that information, we know what it's going to take to be able to educate ourselves and make sure that this is the right decision. Because yeah, you know what, at the end of the day, if this isn't business, isn't this decision, you can either decide two things. You can decide to do something about it, or you can decide to, no, I'm just going to let it lie and go get a job, as you said. So I think if we prepare people with the tools, we're going to be much better. I actually love what you're talking about certainty, and that's actually part of one of the new strategy tools that I've been developing, called a Stratahedron. I don't know if you've seen it, but we actually talk about those certainty, clarity, and competency. These are kind of the peak of our mountain kind of thing, right at the top there. And without having those aspects, it becomes like it's a foundation of our business. And if we don't have those pieces, then we're really missing out. And I love what you said about, being comfortable with with uncertainty. And to me, I think that's what kind of defines your success as well, is that you've embraced that, and it is totally uncertain.
Yeah, absolutely. And being, you're right to be okay with that. I think the one last thing that I would add in terms of where we're at right now, Doyle, and the opportunity for us, I honestly do think that we have this great opportunity to define business on your own terms. Now,
100% agree with you there. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. Redefine your business. So this is really what this book is about. This book is not just about charging heaps of money and buy a Maserati. This is a book that is about build something of substance that suits you. Like, what is it that you want to do? You want to work 3 days a week, you build a business to do that. You want to own 20 Maseratis, you build a business to suit that. But all too often, people are building a business that other people expect them to build, not what they really want. You want to build, for me, giving back, supporting my charities, doing all of that kind of stuff is hugely important to me. I need to make enough money to be able to support my wombat sanctuaries that I want to support and give, do money to. Redefining our business to the product we offer, who we deal with, how hard we work, how hard we don't, where we work, has never been easier, because we've got obviously a global market, right? We've got all these people around the world who will find us if we can resonate, and I think that's what I think is so exciting for people with the vision to kind of get that you create the stuff that's going to work for you. Then your strategy is very simple, that you've got to find the right people that want what it is. And I know there's nothing new in that, but there's still very limited thinking about what I can offer or what I've got to do or whatever I can. And I think we're moving into an unlimited time. The metaverse will change a lot. The tech we've got is changing a lot. Our connections, we're all doing Zoom calls with people from all around the world. That's just a Tuesday morning, or that wasn't like that 10, 15, 20 years ago. So we've got this great chance, and I want to see people build this amazing business that is 100% built for them. It ticks every one of my boxes. From, I don't want to deal with dickheads, so I have a no dickhead policy. I don't want to deal with I don't want to be. I don't negotiate price. I deliver great quality. So my business is a non-negotiable kind of product. I get to help people. I get to work. I choose who I work with. We need to work out all of those things, and then we build our business to suit that, and then we find our tribe. And I believe we've never had a greater chance to do that than we have now.
Very motivational. I agree.
Very preachy.
Yeah. Well, and I hate to, here I go again with helping you market this, but this is certainly, resonates so well with me, and I really appreciate your perspective. It's part of my breakthrough kind of moment, or, perspective on this, is it is that kind of drive and passion to build something on your own terms. It doesn't have to be this huge, massive growth, or take over the market. Maybe have a solid play and ability to work with customers, make their day, delight them, do some cool things, and then kind of schedule the day that you want. And to Andrew's point, even 3 years, 4 years ago, right, I wouldn't have taken the same approach that I am today. And it's really because the world has changed. The world is open to, meeting you on Zoom. I can work all over North America. I can work globally. I don't just have to limit it to my own backyard, right? So it's certainly it's interesting from that perspective, and really appreciate the chat there, Andrew.
Yeah, you're welcome. One of my measurements, and one of the new kind of tools that I think that defines that I'm on track for me, is when I look at my calendar and it makes me smile. That's and I look at every meeting and I go, oh, I'm seeing Doyle. Oh, I'm chatting to Michael Hanrahan. Oh, I'm chatting to, I'm presenting that day. My calendar makes me smile. That's my measurement of success, in terms of my business being on track. Because I know that if my calendar makes me smile, I'm doing what I should be doing. I'm in the right place. I'm with the right people. I'm doing the right things. And it's the simplest of scenarios, but it keeps me on track every week. That Thursday I wasn't smiling a lot. Like, how come? Wrong things, wrong distractions. I should have said no to that. That's my new yardstick is, does my calendar make me smile?
Love it. I love it.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Andrew.
My pleasure.
I would love to be able to chat some more. Maybe we could do another podcast or live stream down the road, but thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it. Next time I'm in Hobart, I'll have to look you up as well, and we'll go to the different pool, please.
Please do. And congratulations. Congratulations on the launching, mate, of Strategystorming. Good on you, Doyle.
Thank you.
A fan of yours as well, my friend. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, congratulations.
Cool. So we've got some new speakers coming up. Sally Anderson is coming up next. I'm just going to do a little closing session. Andrew, if you wanted to jump off, feel free.
I will. Sorry, guys. I'm in between a few things.
Yeah. No, thank you so much.
I'm going to go back and smile at my calendar.
Yeah, no, that's like the quote of the day.
Keep smiling. Keep smiling.
That's going to keep me going for the next 12 hours. So
take care.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks so much. And I'm going to hop off. It's getting late here, and I'll be back on in the other side of the day. Yeah.
Thanks, Tony. So I'm just going to do a quick close, and then we've got Sally Anderson, and we've got another speaker coming up as well. People will be joining us either here on Zoom or on the live streams themselves as well. So looking forward to that. Just going to quickly go through welcome, Sally. I didn't say welcome previously, but thanks for coming, and we'll get you started. I'm just going to do a quick little close, and then we'll reset and with the recording and the live stream as well. And then we'll get going from there. So welcome to the grand opening of strategystorming.co. Come celebrate the grand opening, the online strategy studio and shop that is changing how we rethink, reinvent, and reimagine how to do better business as well. So joining me next is Sally Anderson, leadership coach to the influencers, coming up right away. And then after that, at 1:30, we have Alex Sum from Hong Kong. Actually, Sally is all the way from New Zealand. So welcome. We're really spanning the globe, which is so cool. My schedule made me smile. Andrew was talking about that, right? Just a few minutes ago. And being able to connect with all these people in one place in one span of time was just phenomenal. That made me smile. Alex Sum from Brainstorming, he's created these amazing brainstorming tools that hopefully we'll have a chance to get into as well. And then after that, we've got, I think, about 10 hours left. So we've got Michael Hanrahan, who's here now, and he'll be joining us at the top of the hour as well. We've got some amazing speakers, so I'd love for you to continue to tune in, jump in on Zoom, bit.ly/grand opening 2022, or if you're watching live, it's in the description, the link to grab your Zoom seat, so you can go there as well. What else? Enter to win. Yes. I've got a whole bunch of prizes, a whole stack of books as I've been showing throughout the day, a couple copies of mine that I'm giving away every hour for those who registered. Some of the other authors have given their books as well. Some of the speakers who are coming throughout the day, some of their books also. So you're going to not run away. You're going to walk away with a whole wealth of information as well. So go to strategystorming.co and you can actually enter to win the coolest things we've had. Oh yeah, you can win a pair of 3D glasses, because we all need to have 3D glasses to help navigate our 3D world. No, not really. And anybody can make a joke about it. I don't care. They're a lot of fun. I'm trying to bring a bit of levity into strategy too, because sometimes it's a little bit too serious than I think it should be. It's good to have fun, and it's also good to have, time for bigger thinking around strategy as well. You can win a strategy lab coat. Go to strategystorming.co and you can win that. And I always ask this question, if you remember back to school, when you're in the chemistry class, you put on a lab coat, and what do? You feel like you're doing something important, right? So that's the sense that we want to build here, is like when you put on your easy strategy lab coat, you know that it's time to do some strategy, some serious thinking to get the business going forward as well. And what else? The neuromarketing advantage of strategy. So here you can take what I call the strategic dynamics quiz, the assessment, and find out, what is your strategic dynamics profile as well. So point your camera at the screen, and it'll bring up a link for you where you can answer about 12 questions, and it'll be able to formulate what exactly your profile looks like, whether it's a learner, whether it's an innovator, whether it's a creator, that sort of thing. So lots of different tools coming to you as well. We've got, if you go to the shop at any time, strategystorming.co, you get 20% off all products between now and October 31st. Just enter Grand Opening 20 is the special code as well. And I'll be sending these to everybody who registered as well. One other thing, the 2022 strategy survey, this really helps paint the picture of strategy and what's important and what's not, and what we should prioritize and how we should prioritize things as well. So I'd really love your insight in terms of, okay, how can we think about strategy a little bit differently? So if you wouldn't mind taking this pulse check of, what strategy means to you and how does it play? And maybe you don't even use the term strategy, which is totally fine, but how do you use that? How do you use that sense of getting out there and creating and crafting and rethinking and understanding what it is that you want to be able to do? So again, point your camera at that QR code and you'll be sent there as well. And finally, if you look at my fancy little screen here, my Magic Cam, one of the big giveaways of the sessions is the free copy of the Strategy Canvas workbook. So just go to strategystorming.co, point your camera at the QR code as well. And it's what it is. It's the workbook rather, to help you build one of these strategy models that you can actually touch, see, and feel as well. And it takes you through a series of questions, understanding what's important, how to prioritize things, how you can actually do things differently as well. So, and actually, I don't think you'd be able to see that. I'm just going to close that. And I'll just quickly go through this spotlight for everybody. So this is the strategy gift as well, that the strategy canvas worksheet, and you'll be able to go through and build your own strategy, your stratahedron, as I call it as well. The tool that allows you to see your strategy with a different level of elevation, as I've shown you there. So excellent. So I'm just going to bring on Sally in the next minute. I'm just going to stop the recording and reset everything as well. So I'll be right back.